Hi guys, this is the fourth presentation under Module 2, and we're going to be talking today about client factors. So please refer to the section of your OT practice framework that is on page S7 and S22. We're going to be talking a little bit about this area, but of course there's more information in your readings, and I want to make sure you get all the information that you possibly can get on this section. So what are client factors? These are the specific details that influence our ability to perform an occupation. So we're going to talk more specifically about all of this, but when we think about client factors, we're really talking about what is happening within the world, what is happening with our client, what is happening in the environment that influences our ability to work with them. Or what are the specific details that are influencing our ability to perform an occupation? So let's talk a little bit about what perceptions are about. So depending on our perceptual biases, we will see this dress in different ways. Some of you may see this as gold and white, and some of you may see it in blue and black. I'd like to know what color you see when you look at this dress. The client factors are our ability to perceptually identify what is going on in this dress. When we're looking at this, we see it in different ways depending on what those contextual differences are. Our eyes are able to fixate on colors of objects depending on what the lighting is that is present. This photo, however, doesn't really show us any clues about the ambient lighting. So we're going to go to the next slide. So let's look at the top. The dress looks gold and white, and at the bottom it looks black and blue. As you can see, the light that is shining in the top picture is very bright. Therefore, the colors are looking a little distorted. And if you look in the bottom picture, you'll see that the dress is up against a white dress and also a black curtain. Therefore, the color is not distorting, the light is not distorting any of the color, which is showing its true colors, which are in fact black and blue. So this is just one example about how these factors can play a part in our perception. So when we talk about client factors, there's three main categories that we have to talk about. One is values, beliefs, and spirituality. The second is body functions, and the third is body structures. We're going to talk a little bit more about each of these sections. When we talk about values, beliefs, and spiritualities, this is really very specific to the individual. So clients' perceptions, motivations, and related meaning that influence or are influenced by engagement in occupations. This means that whenever an individual is engaging in an occupation, they're doing it because they have reasons or strong beliefs or experiences that are keeping them invested within that area of occupation. So as you see this list here, I like how it kind of includes that although values may not be embedded in there naturally, values certainly play a part in how well we engage within activities. So what are values? Values are acquired beliefs and commitments that are derived from our culture. They're not necessarily good, they're not necessarily right, and they're not necessarily important. However, they are specific to the individual. There are three variances that I want to talk about. One is that there's when we value something, we can value something as a person, which means one of the examples for this is being honest with yourself and with others and being committed to something or someone. We can talk about values in the area of a group. This is when we play fairly. We may have an obligation to a group. This group could be a school, an employer, a team, a political party. So we feel that we have this sense of obligation. That's what can be valued in a group or in a group environment. In the area of population, this could be the freedom to speak. This could be equal opportunity employment or equal opportunity, treating everybody equally. A couple of populations that I can think of that people value something very strongly is Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter. Those are things that I hope that when you think about those scenarios, that you can see how somebody values something so intensely that they fight for it to the end of their core, to the end of their being. So if you don't know this picture on the right-hand side, you may not be a football fan, but this is Colin Kaepernick, and he was the quarterback for the 49ers. He is no longer playing for them, but as you see here, he's kneeling. And he was kneeling initially because of the way he felt that people of color, especially Black individuals, were not being treated fairly. And so he had been quoted as saying, "I'm not going to stand to show pride in the flaws for a country that has oppressed Black lives and people of color." This is a stance that he took, and it led to much bigger things. This is something he valued very strongly, and it went on to bigger things. And I don't want to get into the whole political arena or if he felt what he did was right or wrong, but this just goes to show you that people have these values. We have to think about this when we're working with our patients or our clients. They value things sometimes very strongly, and we have to appreciate that and we have to respect that. We don't have to necessarily agree with that, but we do actually have to appreciate that. So the question I have for you is, what stance have you taken and why? The next thing that I want to talk about is beliefs. So beliefs are, it's cognitive. It's a cognitive content that's held true by or about our client. I like this statement that Gandhi had written, or actually had been quoted to say. And he says, "Our beliefs become our thoughts become our words become our habits, and our habits become our values become our destiny." When we believe in something, we tend to become that. So although it's a cognitive thought process, our belief system can kind of define who we are. So if we think about a person, this is an example of this could be somebody who feels that one person is powerless on influencing others. But then another person can say one person can certainly change the world. Again, it's what you believe cognitively, and then what you're feeling, and then how you're able to execute those feelings and act on those. So what is it that you believe in? What is something that you can say that you believe in to your very core? The next thing that I want to talk about is spirituality. Often people think of spirituality as a religious being. When we talk about spirituality in the OT practice framework, it is not necessarily just a religious concept. It's a personal search for a purpose or a meaning in one's life. It's a sense of value, but it's not related to fame and wealth. When we talk about religion, or when we think about religion, religion is actually the guidance of values that are agreed upon by a collective board. So it takes spirituality, but then it puts it into like a little box, or maybe a bigger box, but it kind of tries to make a nice, tight, controlled substance or a controlled action when we're talking about spirituality. When we think about spirituality with individuals that we work with, it's people seeking meaning and purpose, which I talked about, but it also is the way that they experience that connectedness to the moment, to their self, to others, to nature, or to that significant or sacred. So this is what I wanted to talk about in terms of client factors. So I hope that you have some understanding of this. At the end of this presentation, I'd like you to just leave me a question that you have or a statement regarding these three individual concepts of values, beliefs, and spirituality. Thanks.